Northwestern celebrates the wedding of our royal alumna.
Students celebrate Africa Week and raise international social awareness with Syrian Refugee Week.
An all-female cast plays Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and more.
We'll have those stories and more coming up on the Northwestern News Report.
It's your news right now. Good evening, I'm Esther Wells.
And I'm Joey Safchik. Thanks for joining us.
Unfortunately, NNN was not invited to cover the royal wedding this weekend. However, Northwestern held some festivities of our own in celebration of our royal alumna, Meghan Markle. And Joey, you were there.
You bet. I am far too invested in the royal family, so you couldn't stop me from hearing two NU history professors discuss the wedding on Friday. I attended the event, spoke to the professors, and, of course, indulged in some delicious tea and scones.
Meghan Markle is a really smart addition to the marketing enterprise known as the Crown.
Northwestern alumna Meghan Markle married Prince Harry of Wales Saturday.
I mean, I'm not an undergraduate myself, but it must be interesting thinking about, what your future might look like and wondering whether you might end up as a princess.
Northwestern students and Evanstonians, some accessorized for the occasion, congregated in Harris Hall Friday to hear history professors Deborah Cohen and Scott Sowerby give a scholarly take on the wedding and its cultural implications.
As we think about what are the forces that bring countries together, how do you create common ground for people? I think showing that we actually have an inclusive family.
Cohen is an award-winning historian of modern Britain. Although a self-proclaimed anti-monarchist, Cohen says she sees the positive social implications of the modern crown.
That you can have a commoner in Kate Middleton, that you can have, an American divorcee, biracial woman in Meghan Markle, that those things make the monarchy feel much more relatable.
And the conversation wasn't just about Meghan Markle and this year's royal wedding. There was also a brief history lesson and some predictions about the future of the British monarchy. Audiences also got to enjoy a spot of tea.
So you should just be happy with your life because you wouldn't want to be a prince or a princess after all. So it makes you feel better about yourself after you're watching, The Crown.
Sowerby specializes in early modern British history, and he's talking about the Netflix show, The Crown. The speaker spent several minutes discussing the many modern pop culture depictions of the royal family. The professors also discussed the history of the throne and how students may engage with British politics via investment in the wedding.
Whether you actually get up to watch it on Saturday morning or you watch clips later, I think it's an opportunity to see a different political structure in action.
I think students are really interested in the place, what does it actually mean to live in a monarchy? In a place that still has a monarchy, and especially one that we're so familiar with.
Attendees on Friday continue to ask such questions while enjoying their royal tea. Meghan Markle came to campus in 2014 to promote her television show, Suits. We wanted to know what you thought of her royal wedding to Prince Harry. We asked you in this week's edition of Rock Talk.
I'm Fallon Gallagher for the Northwestern News Network, asking students what they think about the royal wedding. What is that? No way, you're too late. I'm Fallon Gallagher with the Northwestern News Network, asking people at The Rock what they thought about the royal wedding. Did you watch the royal wedding?
No.
Watch the royal wedding?
No.
Did you watch any clips?
No.
Oh God, you might be asking the wrong guy.
No, it's okay. It's okay. That makes it better. Did you watch the royal wedding?
I did watch the royal wedding, and I thought that it was a nice event. Probably a better wedding than anyone else could ever have.
I'm a big meme person, so I liked all the memes.
There were kind of like some funny memes about, marrying a prince as a Northwestern student, so hopefully that happens soon.
Honestly, most of my Twitter feed was just people complaining about the monarchy.
And what do you think about Meghan Markle being a Northwestern alum?
I think that is amazing, and it's I'm very proud, I feel like, that she went here.
Do you think you'll become a princess someday?
No.
So Fallon, thank you for joining us. We wanted
Thanks for having me.
We wanted to know if you watched the royal wedding.
You know what, Joey? Unlike a lot of the people who I encountered at The Rock today when I was out in the field, I actually did watch the royal wedding. My mom was in town this weekend, and we watched the first one together, and she always loved watching Princess Diana's wedding when she was a kid. So we did. We woke up at 5 a.m. Central Time, watched the royal wedding. We saw Meghan Markle come in. She looked beautiful. I will say I liked the second dress a lot more than the first one. I thought the first dress was a little bit plain compared to Kate Middleton's. I thought Kate's was beautiful, but it was a really lovely ceremony, and I loved that preacher from Chicago. He was great.
And I'm dying to know, what would you do if you saw Meghan on campus tomorrow?
I would chat with her and I would say, hey Meghan, what's up? Like, want to come hang out? And then I would say, I know that one of your friends texted you to hook you up with Prince Harry. Do you have another friend who could hook me up with someone else in the royal family? I hear that there's a count who's 24, and I really think that's in my age range.
Well, Fallon, I hope I'll be invited to the wedding if you do marry a prince. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
The African Students Association is celebrating Africa Week with different events every day. NNN's Emma Evans was at the first event.
For me, Africa Week is just a celebration of the different cultures of the different countries in Africa, and just a fun way to kind of have a chance to do a lot of things that we don't really get to do as much being here in the U.S.
ASA kicked off its annual Africa Week yesterday. It's a week dedicated to bringing African culture to Northwestern's campus.
One of the most important things we do is just foster community building within the African community of Northwestern, because it's not very big, so we want to make sure that people within the community get a chance to know who each other are and have people feel like there's a safe space for them to represent their own culture.
Students dressed in traditional African wear in Norris yesterday as a part of Uniform Day. Their outfits helped show what Africa means to them.
It means many things, but what I wrote on the board for today was that it means beautiful people. There's so many beautiful people in Africa. There's so many different types of people in Africa.
Africa Week is a flagship event for ASA, and through it they hope not only to bring the culture to campus, but also to educate students on this culture as well.
Something that we do to try to make people understand that Africa isn't just one thing, it's not just two things, it's many things. Wednesday is going to be a keynote speaker about democracy and good governance in Africa. Thursday is going to be our listening party, where we feature just songs from all over the continent as well as food. And Friday is going to be the Taste of Africa, which is just free food from different parts of Africa. So please come.
Through music, dance, food, dress, and celebration, ASA hopes to show the campus the diversity of Africa and to expose others to their culture. Emma Evans, Northwestern News Network.
ASA has more details on Africa Week on their Facebook page. UNICEF NU's Syrian Refugee Week began Monday with a variety of panels, fundraisers, and a movie screening, all concerning the issue of Syrian refugees. UNICEF NU President Kristen Van Tyne stressed the importance of the week as a way to maintain awareness about the issue.
It's just awful that we kind of moved on from it as a country, just the Western world in general. Like, we still hear about it once in a while, or, oh, that terrible bomb dropped, but it's not in the front news as it once was when this was like first starting, because we like to just kind of move on, like, oh, it's a sad story, and then move on with our lives, which is like really unfortunate because these are human beings and they don't get to move on with their lives.
All profits from the fundraisers held throughout the week went to refugee relief efforts. UNICEF NU plans to host an event that benefits those impacted by the Rohingya refugee crisis.
And with the royal wedding came a pretty hefty royal price tag. We'll break down exactly how much it cost. That's next in Money Minute.
Coming up, Spring Reborn, Evanston's second try at some warm weather. I'm Anna Blackman, and I'll have your 5-day forecast after the break.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
After a couple days of cold and clouds, the sun will be coming out for Spring 2.0. I'm Anna Blackman, and here's your 5-day weather forecast. On Wednesday, it's partly cloudy with a high of 68 and a low of 53. On Thursday, the high reaches 74 and we can expect a low of 62. That's followed by a high of 83 and low of 65 on Friday. And with thunderstorms this weekend, Saturday can reach a high of 83 with a low of 62, and Sunday will dip a little to 74 with a low of 58. It looks like you can put your coats away at least for now, but make sure to have the rain boots ready for this weekend. That's all for your forecast. I'm Anna Blackman. Back to the desk.
Northwestern raised $10 million to support and rename the Mesulam Cognitive Neurology and Alzheimer's Disease Center, formerly known just as the Cognitive Neurology and Alzheimer's Disease Center. They announced the fundraising achievement and renaming at the 24th Alzheimer's Day event this week. Mesulam is the founder of the center. Putting the institution in his name was fundamental to the fundraising efforts. The money will also be used for research and education at the center.
5 Northwestern faculty members were recently presented University Teaching Awards. Joshua Leonard, Miriam Petty, Catherine Woolley, Noelle Sullivan, and Jill Wilson demonstrated excellence in classroom teaching and were celebrated for their contribution to student learning. 2 of the honorees hail from the McCormick School of Engineering, 2 others are from the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences, and the 5th is from the School of Communication. The professors will be honored on Thursday at 4 p.m. in Scott Hall. All members of the Northwestern community are invited to attend.
Well, all the glitz and glamour of Harry and Meghan's big day, it didn't come cheap. The royal price tag, a respectable $45 million. That actually pales in comparison to the price of Princess Diana and Prince Charles's wedding back in 1981, which cost a whopping $110 million. But it's actually more than William and Kate spent. Their wedding back in 2011 cost only $34 million. What a bargain. So where exactly did Harry and Meghan spend all those British pounds? Well, let's follow the money. The biggest chunk of change did not go to clothes, the food, or even the venue. It actually went towards security. Saturday's security operations in Windsor cost about $40 million. Compare that to $32 million spent on the security of William and Kate for their wedding day at Westminster Abbey 7 years ago. British media say about 100,000 spectators attended the festivities Saturday, and security included rooftop snipers, undercover police, and even a drone destroyer system. On to the other expenditures now. It is estimated the food and beverages cost about $680,000. There were 600 guests provided lunch and dinner, and thousands of guests provided with tea and other hot snacks. Meanwhile, Meghan's dress cost about $135,000, and the flowers cost just a tad bit less at $130,000. With such a hefty price tag, you have to wonder who's going to pay for it. Well, the royal family said it will pay for the core aspects of the wedding, like the church service, the flowers, and the reception. Meghan said she will pay for her dress herself. Well, as for the security, that's on the taxpayers. With Money Minute, I'm Matt Dunn.
Coming up after the break, a Northwestern student talks to NNN about her culture and its place in her academic career. Stay tuned.
At Northwestern, we're wildcats in every way.
Go Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we We will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Northwestern is tied as the 7th most represented college on Broadway. But how do international students factor into this dramatic equation? NNN's Hyojung Kim spoke to one international theater student to give us a behind-the-scenes look at her NU experience.
Just like any other theater student, School of Communication sophomore Jiwon Jamie Sung is a character, especially when it comes to identity. She is one of the very few international students in Northwestern Theater.
I know about 3 people who are international students in my grade.
The theater department is known to be one of the least diverse programs in Northwestern. Casting call for non-white, non-Caucasian actors is also very limited. Jamie, however, was not discouraged by this and set her foot into the world of American theater.
It's mostly Caucasian roles that's happening in NU or in any other theater. At first, I was really worried about the lack of opportunities that I'm gonna get, but it turned out that people are really supportive and they respect each other's background.
The theater major loves what she's doing, but she had to negotiate with the reality she would have to face as a Korean.
In Korean culture, theater might not be a major that's being respected. If I want to live in Korea after graduation, then I should be able to do some STEM-related subject.
And that's why she declared a second major in computer science. Jamie's friend Janet Lee, who is also very committed in student theater, says she is supportive of Jamie's decision.
I definitely see that being Asian in the theater department, I tend to be a minority. If Jamie feels that theater is not something she wants to commit as a career, I think that's a very wise decision, even if it is. Computer science is a very well-marketed major in this day and age.
In the future, I want to go on the path of theater specifically, but right now the trend is to learn how to code.
Becoming a good, trendy theater major. That's her Northwestern dream. For Medill, Hyojung Kim.
For more information on diversity and inclusion at Northwestern, refer to the 2017-18 D&I report.
If you're still bummed Northwestern didn't send you to Hamilton, there was a chance to see a similar story this weekend. NNN's Liam Lecca caught the historical performance.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all women are created equal. This past weekend, the tale of drafting and signing the Declaration of Independence was told through an all-female cast in the musical 1776.
I think a lot of the time, especially in media, we talk about history and it's always about the politicians and who have traditionally been men. In that process, we lose a lot of the people who actively were really involved with creating the history in different ways. Women, people of color often get totally written out of the narrative.
But it wasn't always easy to write them into the narrative. Arguably, the biggest challenge 1776 faced was adapting a play centered around male characters for the female actresses.
A couple verses in the songs that are very male geared. There's a song between John and Abigail that's talking about sex, more or less, and it is pretty male dominated in that way. So it's been a little difficult understanding where that fits into myself and my body, but we have a really great supportive team.
This free performance was co-sponsored by One Book, One Northwestern, and the Women's Center. Lena Dudley, who plays Benjamin Franklin, believes this adaptation of 1776 is important for students to see.
It's very rare to see a show with an entirely female cast, especially in powerful roles. So I want people to take away that that is a really powerful thing, and we need to see more of that in the professional world and even on this campus.
But if there's one thing that audience members should really take away from 1776, it's
how talented and badass this group of women is. They're phenomenal.
While the song says, these women were certainly standing up for their place in history. Liam Lecca, Northwestern News Network.
With next year's One Book already announced as The Handmaid's Tale, it'll be exciting to see what events will be put on in the future. And after the break, a first-time Northwestern event brought Willie the Wildcat some furry friends at a sports game.
At Northwestern, we're wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
They say baseball is America's pastime and dogs are a person's best friend. So what happens when you combine the two? NNN's Adam Bronstein finds out at a ball game where there was plenty of puppy love.
While the Cats were on the field, eyes were drawn away from the game by a cat's most infamous foe. Saturday was Northwestern's first Bark at the Park Day, encouraging baseball fans to bring their canine friends to the game. The event allows for fans on both sides to bond over their love of baseball and dogs, as well as improving attendance for Northwestern. Attendance at this game was 614 people, more than a 28% increase from the last Saturday afternoon home game. The rain delay eventually drove away most of the fans and their dogs, but Bark at the Park Day ultimately proved to be a real treat.
And it was a good day for dog and cat lovers, as the Northwestern Wildcats shut out the University of Iowa 4-0. We're not sure if this special event will become an NU baseball tradition, but it did increase attendance for the sport, which has been struggling lately.
Helicon celebrated the release of its spring literary magazine with an open mic night at Bookends and Beginnings Monday. NNN's Andy Weir caught up with some of the performers at the event.
After I fell from our garden's tallest tree, the stars appeared in daylight and surrounded me.
In a small nook in the back of Evanston bookstore Bookends and Beginnings, poetry, prose, and potpourri filled the air. Northwestern students from all walks of life came together at Helicon's Spring Open Mic Night on Monday. The annual event celebrated the release of Helicon's Spring Digital Literary Magazine. Helicon editor-in-chief Will N. Galliner opened the event by retelling the literary magazine's storied history at Northwestern. He also emphasized that the event was designed for anyone and anything.
For the Northwestern community, this is important as an outlet for people who maybe necessarily aren't majoring or specifically studying the arts, but need an outlet to engage with the arts outside of their classwork.
Some performed poetry.
When I stopped taking my birth control cold, or maybe when I started kissing this girl, as I said, they coincided, I felt more like myself than I had felt in years.
Others tried comedy.
This is just an infringement on my rights as a U.S. citizen.
School of Communications senior Pauline Mall read aloud a very personal poem of hers, recounting her struggle with birth control.
The narrator of that poem is me, and everything that I said did happen, and that I kind of was having my first relationship with a woman, and that was when I stopped taking my birth control, and things kind of clicked in my life in two different places. and I was interested in what those had to do with each other.
As the school year now comes to a close, Helicon is already busy planning next year's slate of open mic nights and speaking events. Andy Weir, Northwestern News Network.
After the break, NNN's Catnip caught up with Northwestern's student-run coffee shop, Brew Bike.
At Northwestern, we're wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back. We're joined now by Catnip's Jess Vitti.
Jess, we understand that there is some new Catnip content this week?
Yes, that's right. Now that it is getting warmer, it is finally iced coffee season. Or should I say brew bike season. Brew Bike's outdoor stand has been making an appearance outside the Rock these past few weeks. And it will be there the rest of spring, provided it isn't raining or below 40 degrees. I caught up with Brew Bike CEO Lucas Phillips to talk about how the company has been growing these past 3 years to keep up with a growing coffee culture.
Like freshman year, we found a problem and a solution. Sophomore year, we launched the business. Junior year, we're stabilizing the business. And then next year, it's kind of like time to exit. What I thought initially was that we would learn like quantitatively, like finance, operations, stuff like that. But I really think that the vast majority of the learning has been qualitative in that we've learned how to work together and communicate and iterate and change when we need to, etc. And that's been, for me, the most I've learned, is like in terms of leadership and management. Everyone on our team now, on this founding team, wants to come back in like 20 years with our kids and show them what we built.
He told me that Brew Bike's mission is to provide students with coffee without compromising on quality or convenience. So, to test Brew Bike's knowledge of their campus competition, we played a blind coffee taste test game. Take a look at this preview.
Today we're here to taste 5 different coffees from a variety of on and near campus coffee shops.
On and near, to be clear, yeah, on and near. Okay.
Oh, that sucks.
I think this came from our basement. This seems like...
I think this is dining hall coffee.
Two's Bergson.
You really think Two's... Do you have experience with Bergson?
Absolutely. I'm actually very close with the woman who works there. See, after a while, it all just kind of starts to taste the same.
I taste different. I mean,
maybe I just don't have the palate of
yeah,
experience that you have, Lucas.
For both of those full videos and to find out how they did, be sure to visit facebook.com/catnipNNN. Be sure to like us there and follow up on Instagram or Twitter to get your fix.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. For all of us here at NNN, I'm Esther Wells.
I'm Jess Vitti for Catnip.
I'm Joey Safchik. Thanks for joining us. Good night.